Good morning slash afternoon slash evening, everyone. I want to talk about something we all have experienced at some point in life, giving too much of ourselves to people who don't value us the same way. You know what I'm talking about. We hustle, we show up, we love, we care, we support 100%, and what do we get back? 50%, sometimes even less. Well, guess what? That stops today. There comes a point in life when you have to stop waiting for people to validate your existence. You have to stop seeking approval from those who don't see your true value. Because let me tell you something, if you don't know your worth, the world will decide it for you, and more often than not, they will undervalue you. They will place you in a box, put a label on you, and tell you how much of yourself you're allowed to give. But here's the truth, you are priceless, and no one gets to decide your worth except you. We live in a world that constantly teaches us to be grateful for whatever we get, even when it's less than we deserve. Whether it's in relationships, friendships, careers, or personal goals, we've been conditioned to believe that accepting just enough is better than nothing at all. But that's a lie. You are not here to settle for less than you deserve. You are not here to pour your heart and soul into people who barely show up for you. You are not here to be an option when you make someone a priority. Think about it. When you go shopping and see a luxury item with a high price tag, do you ever see the brand lowering its worth just because someone can't afford it? No, the value remains the same, and only those who truly recognize its worth will invest in it. The same applies to you. You are not here to lower your standards just because someone else can't meet them. You are not here to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You are not too much. You are enough, more than enough. And you deserve to be surrounded by people who see that. But here's the catch. Before anyone else can see your worth, you have to see it first. You have to believe in yourself so deeply that even when the world tells you that you're not enough, you don't flinch. You have to walk into rooms with confidence, knowing that you belong there. You have to set boundaries, say no when needed, and not feel guilty about it. Because knowing your worth isn't just about confidence, it's about self-respect. When you truly know your worth, you stop begging for attention, love, or validation. You stop chasing people who make you feel like you're not good enough. You stop accepting half-hearted efforts from people who are only there when it's convenient for them. You realize that love, respect, and effort are not things you should have to fight for. They should come naturally from the right people. Now, I know this is easier said than done. We've all been in situations where we love someone so deeply that we were willing to accept whatever little effort they gave us. We convinced ourselves that something is better than nothing. But let's be honest. Was it really better? Did you ever feel truly fulfilled in a relationship where you were the only one trying? Did you ever feel valued in a friendship where you were the only one making an effort? The answer is no, because deep down we all crave something real. Something balanced, something that doesn't leave us feeling empty and questioning our worth. Knowing your worth means understanding that you are not defined by how others treat you. Their inability to see your value doesn't mean you are worthless. It means they are blind to what you bring to the table. And that's their loss, not yours. When you embrace this mindset, you stop taking things personally. You stop feeling hurt when someone doesn't appreciate you because you realize it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. You have to make a choice. Either you keep settling for less than you deserve, or you walk away from anything that doesn't align with your value. And let me tell you, the second you choose yourself, your entire life changes. You start attracting people who see your worth without you having to prove it. You start getting opportunities that match your potential. You start feeling a sense of peace that only comes when you stop giving your energy to things that don't serve you. So if you've been waiting for a sign to step into your power, this is it. No more begging for love, for attention, for effort. No more accepting the bare minimum. No more making excuses for people who continuously show you that they don't value you. You are worth more than that. You always have been, and the moment you start acting like it, the world will have no choice but to follow. There comes a moment in life when you have to stop waiting for people to validate your existence. You have to stop seeking approval from those who fail to recognize your true value. If you don't know your worth, the world will decide it for you, and more often than not, it will underestimate you. People will treat you based on the standards you set for yourself. If you allow them to give you less than you deserve, they will. If you make excuses for their lack of effort, they will continue doing the bare minimum. But the truth is, you teach people how to treat you by the way you treat yourself. When you know your worth, you refuse to settle for anything less than what aligns with your value. Too often, people fall into the trap of believing they have to prove themselves to be loved, accepted, or respected. They give their all to friendships, relationships, and careers that barely acknowledge their worth. They lower their expectations and convince themselves that receiving half-hearted effort is better than nothing at all. But settling for less doesn't make you humble. It makes you undervalued. Love, respect, and effort should never have to be earned through struggle. The right people will see your worth without you having to fight for it. If you find yourself constantly explaining why you deserve basic decency, you are in the wrong place. The right job, the right friends, the right partner, none of them will require you to beg for what should be naturally given. Knowing your worth is not arrogance, it is self-awareness. It is the understanding that your time, energy, and love are valuable. It means recognizing that you bring something unique to the table, and that is not up for negotiation. When you know your worth, you stop begging for attention. You stop chasing people who continuously show you they do not prioritize you. You stop staying in places that drain you emotionally, mentally, or physically. You begin to walk away from situations that do not serve you because you understand that your peace and happiness are not things you are willing to compromise on. Too many people fear that setting boundaries and walking away from toxic situations will make them seem selfish or difficult. But boundaries are not about shutting people out. They are about ensuring that only the right people get to stay. Saying no does not mean you are rude. It means you respect yourself enough to decline what does not align with your values. Walking away from people who do not appreciate you is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength. The people who truly care for you will respect your standards, not try to convince you to lower them. One of the most empowering realizations you can have is understanding that another person's inability to see your worth does not mean you are worthless. Someone else's lack of appreciation does not define your value. People only recognize value based on their own level of awareness. If someone is incapable of seeing your greatness, that is their limitation, not yours. Diamonds do not lose their value just because someone does not know how to recognize one. The right people, the ones who truly appreciate and respect you, will never need convincing. They will see your worth and treat you accordingly. When you truly know your worth, you start attracting people and opportunities that match your energy. You no longer waste time on relationships that make you question your value. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You no longer tolerate workplaces that fail to recognize your contributions. Instead, you make room for the things and people that uplift, inspire, and empower you. You create space for the relationships that are reciprocal, for the love that is effortless, and for the opportunities that challenge you to grow. Choosing yourself is not selfish, it is necessary. You are not here to live your life constantly proving why you are deserving of love, respect, and care. You do not need to earn someone's effort. If they truly value you, they will show it. If they don't, you will know it. The moment you stop settling for less than you deserve, your entire world changes. You start to realize that the only validation you ever truly needed was your own. You begin to walk with confidence, knowing that you are enough just as you are. You start living unapologetically, knowing that your worth has never been dependent on how others see you. The power to define your value has always been yours. Own it. Your energy is one of the most valuable resources you have. It's not infinite, and once it's drained, it takes time to replenish. Yet so many people waste their energy on people, situations, and things that do nothing but exhaust them. They invest in relationships that take more than they give, jobs that undervalue them, and friendships that are one-sided. They give their time and emotions to people who barely reciprocate, hoping that if they give enough, they will eventually receive the same in return. But that's not how it works. You don't get back what you give just because you gave it. You get back what people are willing and capable of giving. And if someone only gives you half of what you deserve, no amount of extra effort from you will change that. Energy is just like money. If you keep spending it in the wrong places, you'll end up broke, mentally, emotionally, and even physically. Imagine constantly pouring into a bank account that never grows. No matter how much you deposit, there's no return, no appreciation, no growth. You wouldn't keep putting your money there, would you? Then why do people keep investing their energy in relationships, friendships, and situations that leave them emotionally bankrupt? The truth is, many people don't realize how precious their energy is until they've wasted too much of it. They keep giving, hoping things will change, but instead they just end up exhausted, bitter, and drained. The people and situations you give your energy to should add value to your life, not take from it. Every interaction you have, every conversation you engage in, every thought you entertain is either fueling you or draining you. That's why it's crucial to be intentional about where and how you invest your energy. Ask yourself, does this relationship uplift me, or does it constantly make me question my worth? Does this job challenge me in a way that inspires growth, or does it just deplete me? Do the people in my life reciprocate my effort, or am I the only one trying? If the answer to these questions leaves you feeling empty or resentful, it's a sign that your energy is being spent in the wrong places. Protecting your energy doesn't mean shutting people out or being selfish. It means recognizing when a situation no longer serves you and having the courage to walk away. It means understanding that not everyone deserves access to you. Not every argument is worth engaging in, not every friendship is meant to last, and not every person who comes into your life is meant to stay. Some people are there to teach you lessons, and once you've learned them, it's okay to let go. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that effort alone can fix an unbalanced situation. They think that if they just try harder, love more, or give more, things will eventually shift. But effort is only meaningful when it's mutual. If you are constantly giving 100%, while someone else is barely giving 50%, you are not in a balanced relationship, you are in a draining one. Healthy relationships, whether romantic, platonic, or professional, require equal energy exchange. It doesn't mean that every day will be perfectly balanced, but over time, there should be a sense of reciprocity. You should not feel like you are the only one keeping the connection alive. One of the most empowering things you can do for yourself is learn to say no. No to people who only reach out when they need something. No to relationships that make you feel small. No to conversations that drain your spirit. No to environments that rob you of your peace. Your energy is sacred, and you have every right to protect it. The people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries. They won't make you feel guilty for prioritizing your well-being. They won't take offense when you decide to distance yourself from negativity. In fact, the right people will encourage you to protect your energy because they value and appreciate what you bring to the table. The more you become selective with your energy, the more you will attract people and situations that align with your highest good. You will notice a shift in your peace, your happiness, and your overall sense of well-being. Instead of feeling constantly drained, you will feel fulfilled. Instead of being surrounded by people who take advantage of you, you will be surrounded by those who uplift and support you. Instead of feeling like you are always running on empty, you will feel balanced and whole. At the end of the day, you are responsible for how you spend your energy. No one else can decide that for you. If you continue to invest in things that leave you exhausted and unfulfilled, you will never have the energy to pursue the things that truly matter. But if you choose to be intentional, to protect your peace, and to only invest in what adds value to your life, you will find yourself thriving in ways you never thought possible. Your energy is powerful. Spend it wisely. Life has a way of teaching us that effort is not something you should have to beg for. The right people, whether in friendships, relationships, or professional settings, will always match the energy and effort you bring to the table. You will never have to chase or convince the right people to appreciate your presence in their lives. They will recognize your value without you having to prove it. Far too often, people find themselves stuck in one-sided relationships, pouring their time, love, and energy into people who barely reciprocate. They make excuses for the lack of effort from others, convincing themselves that maybe if they try harder, love more, or show up more consistently, things will change. But the truth is, no amount of extra effort on your part will ever be enough to change someone who is unwilling to meet you halfway. The relationships that thrive are the ones built on mutual respect and shared effort. When someone truly values you, they make time for you, they listen, they check in, and they show up. Not just when it's convenient for them, but because they genuinely want to be part of your life. They don't just respond when you reach out, they take the initiative. They don't leave you guessing about where you stand. They make it clear through their action. Love, friendship, and respect should never feel like a one-person job. The moment you realize you are the only one putting in the effort to maintain a relationship, it is a sign that the balance is off. A relationship where you constantly feel like you are overcompensating is not a healthy one. The right people will never make you feel like you have to fight for their attention. They will prioritize you just as you prioritize them. They will understand the importance of reciprocity, knowing that relationships are not about keeping score, but about making sure both people feel valued and appreciated. They won't take your kindness for granted or assume that you will always be there, no matter how little they give in return. The people who genuinely care about you will want to see you happy, and they will make an effort to contribute to that happiness rather than being a source of your frustration or disappointment. It is important to recognize that effort does not always mean grand gestures or constant communication. Effort can be as simple as checking in, remembering the small things that matter to you, offering support when you need it, and making you feel seen and heard. It is about consistency. Someone who truly values you will not be present only when they need something or when it's convenient for them. They will be there even when there is nothing to gain, simply because they care. You should never have to wonder if you are important to the right people. Their actions will speak louder than words, and you will feel their presence in your life in a way that is reassuring and comforting. One of the hardest lessons in life is accepting that some people will never match your effort, no matter how much you give. It is painful to realize that you have been prioritizing someone who only sees you as an option. But the moment you accept this truth, you free yourself from the burden of one-sided relationships. You learn to stop chasing and start attracting. You begin to invest your time and energy into people who make you feel appreciated, not depleted. And in doing so, you create space for the kind of connections that bring peace and fulfillment instead of doubt and exhaustion. Letting go of people who do not match your effort is not an act of bitterness, but an act of self-respect. It is understanding that you are worthy of the same love, care, and dedication that you so freely give to others. It is recognizing that you do not have to settle for people who only show up when it's convenient for them. The right people will never make you question your place in their lives. They will not make you feel like an afterthought or like you have to earn their time and attention. They will give because they want to, not because you begged them to. You deserve relationships that feel effortless in the best way, not because there is no work involved, but because the work is mutual. Both sides put in the effort, both sides care, and both sides show up. That is how real connections are built. When you experience this kind of reciprocity, you will wonder why you ever wasted time trying to force connections with people who never truly valued you. You will realize that the right relationships do not drain you, they energize you. They do not leave you feeling empty, they fill you with a sense of love, security, and appreciation. At the end of the day, relationships are about choice. The right people will choose you just as you choose them. And when that happens, you will see the beauty of connections that do not require you to overextend yourself just to feel seen. You will learn that the best relationships are not the ones where you have to beg for love and effort, but the ones where both people give freely because they genuinely want to be there. The right people will match your effort, and anything less than that is simply not worth your time. Many people misunderstand boundaries. They see them as walls built out of arrogance, ego, or an unwillingness to compromise. But in reality, boundaries are not about pushing people away. They are about protecting your energy, your peace, and your self-worth. Boundaries are an act of self-respect, not an attitude problem. They are not about being difficult or controlling. They are about defining how you deserve to be treated. When you set boundaries, you are not being selfish. You are simply valuing yourself enough to say, this is what I will allow, and this is what I won't. The truth is, people who benefit from your lack of boundaries will be the first to call you difficult when you start setting them. They will label you as changed, or say you have an attitude, when in reality, you are just choosing to prioritize yourself. But that is not your problem to solve. When you constantly give and never say no, people get comfortable taking advantage of you. The moment you start enforcing limits, you will see who truly respects you and who was only there because they could use you. Not everyone will like your boundaries, but the people who genuinely care about you will respect them. There is a misconception that saying yes to everything makes you a good person. Society often teaches us that selflessness means always being available, always saying yes, always giving, even at the cost of our own well-being. But the truth is, constantly saying yes when you really want to say no is not kindness. It is self-betrayal. Every time you allow someone to cross a boundary just to avoid conflict, you are teaching them that your needs do not matter. You are teaching them that you will tolerate being treated in ways that make you uncomfortable. But the reality is, you cannot expect people to respect boundaries that you never enforce. If you do not make it clear where your limits are, people will continue to overstep them. Setting boundaries does not mean cutting people off unnecessarily. It does not mean you are cold or unkind. It simply means that you recognize your own worth and refuse to settle for relationships, friendships, or work environments that drain you. It means you know when to walk away from toxic conversations, when to protect your time, and when to say no without feeling guilty. Boundaries are not barriers, they are guidelines that show people how to have a healthy and balanced relationship with you. Many people struggle with boundaries because they are afraid of how others will react. They fear rejection, disappointment, or being seen as rude. But here's the truth: anyone who truly values you will not be offended by your boundaries. People who respect you will want you to feel comfortable in the relationship. They will not guilt-trip you for prioritizing your mental and emotional well-being. It is only those who benefited from your lack of boundaries who will have a problem with you setting them. And those are exactly the people you need boundaries with the most. Boundaries exist in all areas of life. In relationships, they define what is acceptable and what is not. If someone constantly disrespects you, dismisses your feelings, or takes more than they give, you have every right to enforce a boundary. In friendships, they help you avoid being taken for granted. A real friend will not make you feel bad for needing space or for declining plans when you are not up to it. In the workplace, boundaries ensure that you are not overworked or disrespected. If you do not set clear limits, people will assume they can demand anything from you at any time. In every aspect of life, boundaries act as a filter that separates those who truly value you from those who only value what you can do for them. One of the biggest lessons in life is understanding that it is not your job to make everyone comfortable at the expense of your own happiness. It is not your job to constantly accommodate others while neglecting your own needs. You are not here to please everyone, and you do not have to tolerate behavior that makes you feel unappreciated, disrespected, or emotionally drained. The people who matter will understand that your boundaries are not personal attacks. They are simply a reflection of your self-respect. When you start setting boundaries, you will notice a shift in your life. You will start attracting people who respect you, who honor your time, and who appreciate your presence without taking advantage of it. You will feel more at peace because you are no longer allowing yourself to be exhausted by people who only take and never give. You will realize that the right people do not see your boundaries as a problem. They see them as a sign that you value yourself, and they will value you even more because of it. At the end of the day, boundaries are not about controlling others. They are about controlling how you allow yourself to be treated. They are not about keeping people out. They are about ensuring that the people in your life respect and appreciate you. They are a way of saying, I matter, my time matters, my energy matters, and I will not allow anyone to treat me as if they don't. Boundaries are not an attitude problem. They are the clearest sign of self-respect, and the people who belong in your life will always recognize that. Choosing yourself is not selfish, it is necessary. Far too often people are conditioned to believe that prioritizing their own needs, desires, and well-being makes them inconsiderate or self-centered. Society teaches us to put others first, to accommodate, to sacrifice, and to be endlessly available. But what happens when you spend your whole life prioritizing everyone but yourself? You become drained, resentful, and lost in the expectations of others. Choosing yourself unapologetically means recognizing that you are just as important as the people you give your time and energy to. It means standing firm in your worth, making decisions that align with your happiness, and refusing to feel guilty for putting yourself first. There will always be people who expect you to bend, to compromise, to shrink yourself for their comfort. They will demand your time, your energy, and your emotional support, but they will rarely ask what you need in return. The moment you start choosing yourself, Some of these people will call you selfish, difficult, or even ungrateful. Not because you are any of those things, but because your self-prioritization disrupts their ability to take advantage of you. But the truth is, the people who genuinely love and respect you will never expect you to neglect yourself for their benefit. They will want you to be happy, to thrive, and to make choices that serve you. Choosing yourself means letting go of the fear of disappointing others. It means realizing that you cannot please everyone and you do not have to. The desire to be liked and accepted is natural, but when it comes at the cost of your own well-being, it is no longer healthy. If you spend your life living for the approval of others, you will never truly experience freedom. There will always be someone who disapproves of your choices, someone who wishes you would do things differently. But at the end of the day, you are the one who has to live with the consequences of your decisions, not them. So why should their opinions matter more than your own happiness? One of the hardest yet most liberating things you will ever do is prioritize yourself without explanation or apology. You do not need to justify your decisions to people who are not living your life. You do not owe anyone an explanation for why you walked away from a toxic relationship, why you set boundaries, or why you chose to pursue your dreams. People will always have opinions, but their opinions are not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to yourself, to your peace, your growth, and your happiness. Choosing yourself also means saying no without guilt. So many people struggle with saying no because they fear letting others down. They say yes to things they do not want to do, they stay in relationships that drain them, and they commit to obligations that overwhelm them, all because they are afraid of being seen as unkind or uncooperative. But saying no does not make you a bad person. It makes you a person who respects their own time and energy. Every time you say yes to something that does not serve you, you are saying